Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about 6th class NCRT history and we will see the topics that are inside this NCRT and we'll also learn about our past. So you can see this is chapter 1, what, where, how and when. So it basically tells all the details about the fundamentals of history. As you can see, history is a compulsory subject in almost all the examinations, including the UPSC. So let's get started. The front page, you can see that a small girl named Rashida, she's asking like 100 years ago, she just wondered what could have happened at that time. So this is the basic thing, a basic curiosity that led to discoveries of various things. With that, we can decipher the history. Let's get into the topic. What can we know about the past? So this is not so important. They are just saying that what all things can show or throw light on the ancient people. There are several things we can find out: what people ate, what kind of clothes they were wearing. We can find out about the hunters, herders, farmers, rulers, etc. What kind of life they lived, what kind of songs they used to sing, etc. etc. Where did people live? This is the fundamental question in history. So he is asking here to find the river Narmada on map 1. Okay, so I'll show you where is river Narmada. I'll zoom it for you. Just a second. So you can see here is river Narmada between Vindhyas and Satpura. It goes into Gujarat. Okay, so why is he talking about Narmada? Let us see. So he says that people have lived along the banks of these rivers for several hundred thousands of years. So you will get a doubt like, why should people live on the bank of rivers? The very simple and fundamental thing is that when river water is available, people can do agriculture, they can grow crops, and they can eat. So this is the main reason that throughout history, where I'll teach you, you can see that all the civilizations, or the great civilizations which flourished, were near the bank of some or the other river. Okay, or people might have migrated from another place to a place where it is effluent in river water. So here he says that some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled gatherers. This is a very, very important thing. They have asked several times in various examinations that in the near the river Narmada, thousands of years ago, they were first skilled gatherers. They were gatherers, which means they used to gather food. You can see here people who gathered their food. They knew about the vast wealth of plants in the surrounding forest. They collected roots, fruits, and other forest procedure. Okay, so they were gatherers. They also hunted animals. So they were hunters and gatherers. So whenever you think about ancient, very ancient time near the Narmada Valley, the first thing it should strike to you that people over there were hunters and gatherers. Okay, I hope this is clear. You can note this point in your notebook. Okay, now he is asking us to find the Suleiman and Kirtar hills to the northwest. These Suleiman and Kirtar hills are near Pakistan. I'll show you. See here, the Kirtar and the Suleiman hills are there. So this is our India, and here this is Pakistan. Okay, we go. He says, what happened in Suleiman and Kirtar hills? Some of the areas where women and men first began to grow crops. So here they started agriculture, and wheat and barley was cultivated 8,000 years ago. This is also an important point. Whenever Suleiman and Kirtar hills are, you have seen them or studied them somewhere, or you can see if you have seen in any question, the first thing that should strike in your mind is that people were growing crops such as wheat and barley 8,000 years ago. Okay, so this is another point. Narmada people were hunters and gatherers. Suleiman and Kirtar hills, people began to grow crops, wheat and barley. Okay, people also began rearing animals. See, once after agriculture begins, what is the next thing? They would tame animals and they would start rearing them. So these are the sheep, cattle, and goat. So he is asking to locate the Garo hills. The Garo hills are located here. You can see in the northeast. Okay, Garo hills are in the northeast, and the Vindhyas are in central India. You know, Vindhyas and Satpura ranges are there in the central India. Okay, so there were some other areas where agriculture developed. Okay, he says that uh, along with those things in the Vindhya and Satpura and Garo hills also, people started the agriculture. Earlier it was Suleimani hills. So the places where rice was first grown are to the north of Vindhyas. So he is saying that rice was first grown to the north of Vindhyas. So this is a very, very important point you need to know. So this is the third point here. The first point, Narmada, where people were hunters and gatherers. Then it was the Suleimani hills, where agriculture was first started. Wheat and barley were grown. Cattle rearing was started. And then there was first rice grown in the north of Vindhyas. So these three important points, please write it down in your notes. So he is asking to trace the Indus and its tributaries. So Indus is the river with which we get our name India. Okay, Indus, India. You can see here Indus river is there from India. It goes to Pakistan. Okay, so from the name of the Indus river, we get our country's name India, and also Indus river is called Sindhu, from which the foreigners used to call us Hindus. Okay, so any person living here along the banks of Sindhu river, they used to pronounce and they used to call those people as Hindus. So here you can see he says that near Indus, what happened? 4,700 years ago, some of these earliest cities flourished on the bank of the rivers. So he is saying that along 4,000 years ago, near the banks of river Sindhu, civilizations and earlier cities started coming out. Later, after 2,500 years ago, cities developed on the bank of Ganga and its tributaries. So you know that Ganga is a very fertile river. So after a long time, after the Indus Valley civilization, people started, after the fall of Indus Valley civilization, which we will talk about in later classes, people actually started migrating and people actually started moving interior to India from the northwest, and they started living in near the Ganges region, okay, where Ganga used to flow. So locate Ganga and its tributary called the Son. We can see here it is Ganga, and you can see Son river comes like this. Okay, why these things they are asking us to see in the map is because even in mains exam or optional subject or in any other exam, they will definitely pinpoint you the place and they'll ask you about the map based location. So you should definitely learn about that. So here we have already located Ganga and its tributary zone. In ancient time, the areas along these rivers in the south of Ganga was known as Magadha. You will learn in later chapters that how the Magadha was a very powerful kingdom. It was it was one of the most powerful kingdom at that time. You can see which set up a very large kingdom. Kingdoms were set up is another part of the country as well. Okay, small kingdoms have sprouted all over our country. Throughout, people traveled one part of the subcontinent to other. The hills and high mountains, including Himalayas, desert rivers, and seas, made journey dangerous. At that time, there were no other means of transport other than camels, horses, elephants, and foot soldiers. Okay, mostly ships were also in very limited numbers, but people did not use interior to our country. Okay, so men and women moved in search of livelihood. That was, of course, because every area was prone to either drought or flood or some disease used to erupt, earthquakes, natural disasters. Sometimes men marched in armies conquering other lands. So you know that people used to fight wars and they used to conquer other places. Religious teachers, as the religions developed, people started going to different type of places to preach their religion, stopping to offer the instruction and advice on the way. This is what I have just said. Finally, some people perhaps traveled driven by the spirit of adventure. Some people, they're like us, they want a lot of adventure, so they always want to discover new and exciting places, so they used to travel from place to place. How do people travel nowadays? We know that people can travel nowadays through various transport systems. While it was difficult to travel at that time, even though people came from different areas and settled in different other areas. The movements of the people enriched our cultural traditions. Yes, this is a very important point. Because of this movement of people, they moved from different areas to our country. So we have a lot of diversity. In political science also, you will study the same thing. What is diversity and how people from different areas came and they have enriched our diversity. Okay. So here he is saying the names of the land. I have explained this to you that India and Bharat are the two names of our country. So the word India comes from the Indus called Sindhu in Sanskrit. Find Iran and Greece in your atlas. So actually there is an Aryan invasion theory. From that they say that Aryans came from the Central Asia. So Central Asia was Iran. So some 2500 years ago, and we're familiar with Indus, they called it as Indos or Indos. The name Bharata was used for a group of people living in the northwest and are mentioned in the Rig Veda, the earliest composition of the Sanskrit. So another point is that Rig Veda is the earliest composition in Sanskrit, dated around 3500 years ago. A very important point. There are four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. In this, the Rig Veda is the oldest, and it is 3500 years ago it was written. There are several ways to finding out what about the past. So what are the different things? One is this manuscript. What is manuscript? Manuscript is something that is written by hand on palm leaves. This is very important. You have to remember manuscript is written on palm leaf, and here there is one birch bark of manuscript. See, you can clearly see these are called manuscripts because they are written by hand, and this comes from the Latin word manu, meaning hand. Okay. Over the years, many manuscripts were eaten away by insects. Obviously, they will be eaten because they were written by the birch of the trees and insects feed on them. But so many of them were preserved in temples, so they did not get faded away. Okay. So this book dealt with the different subjects of religious beliefs, practices, and king's medicine. So whatever at that time, whatever people know about their contemporary time. Contemporary means that time when people were staying with other people parallelly. So they used to write this manuscripts. Okay. They used to contain religion, practices, everything. Many of these were written in Sanskrit, other were written in Prakrit. Prakrit was also one of the language it was used at that time. Okay. There were some manuscripts in Tamil also. We can study inscriptions. Okay, what is inscription? Inscription is something that is written on a relatively harder surface such as stone. So the basic difference between manuscript and inscription is that manuscript is written on birch of the tree and inscription is written on stones. So which one is more prone to get destroyed? Manuscript can be destroyed easily, whereas inscription can stay for longer time. Mostly they used to write records of the battles. So you can see this is the inscription. It is written on the stone, and here we can see it's an old inscription, dates about 2215 years ago. It is found in Kandahar. So they can ask you what is the old name of Afghanistan. It was Kandahar. So here they have written about the king called Ashoka, who is from Mauryan dynasty. We will read in the further classes. This inscription is written in two different scripts and languages, Greek and Aramaic. That means they used to have knowledge of Greek and Aramaic at that time. Okay. There were many other things that were made and used in the past. Those were, so who studied these objects are called archaeologists. These things, you know, archaeologists are those people who dig and they study about the past, artifacts about the past. They study the remains of buildings made of stone and brick, painting. They also explore, excavate, etc., etc. This is just what they are saying, that they dig and they get different type of artifacts with which they could think something about the history, like how people used to wear, what do they eat, and etc. So here they is showing a pot from an old city around 4,000 years ago. Can you just see the beauty of this pot? Like, we were such an advanced civilization, or people used to have such a beautiful artwork. You can see that this pot is so beautiful, and you can just imagine that it is 4,700 years ago. In the right, and silver coin issued 2,500 years ago, and this is also a beautiful coin. They have just showed that these are the artifacts which people get from uh, sites, archaeological sites. Archaeologists will find this. Okay, archaeologists also look for bones of animals, birds, and fish. So based on these bones of animals and birds and fish, what they are able to say, they can be able to say that what type of food items they used to consume at that time. Plant remains are surviving far more rarely, because plant is easily, it gets degraded, and if they are burned, you can see it in a charred form. Okay, so here he says historians, that is scholars who study the past, are often use the word source to refer the information found from manuscript. Okay, they used to say that this is the source for so and so thing which we have found. Once sources are found, learning about the past becomes an adventure. Okay, once we can get a source, it will be like a detective kind of thing. Here also they have also given that archaeologists are like detectives. You can just reconstruct the past once you find the source. He says that India has one past or many. We can always see that they have written it as our past. So they are saying that we didn't have one past, but we had a different past. Here you can see we have used the word past in plural to draw attention to the fact that past was different for different groups of people. Obviously, we had so many other people coming from different areas outside Iran, as we have already said that Aryans theory, the Mongols, the Mughals, different areas, different people have come from various other places. So the past was different. For example, today most of the people living in Andaman get their own food by fishing, hunting, collective forest procedure. We knew that the Andamani people, they do hunting, fishing, and they collect the forest produce. That is what he is saying. So ordinary people such as hunter, fishing did not keep records. So the records were mostly kept by kings and their kingsmen. So they used to just write whatever they used to see, and they used to travel. But normal people like hunters who were far away from the kingdom, they never used to keep any recordings. So we do not know much about them. Here he is telling about the dates. If somebody asks you what is the date, you will tell about day, month, and year. So what is AD, BC? BC means before Christ, before birth of Jesus Christ, and AD means Anna Domino. You can see AD means Anna Domino. A lot of people say after death, but no, it is Anno Domini. Okay, Anno Domini means in the year of Lord. So BC is called before Christ. Sometimes C is used instead of AD. CE means common era, and instead of BC they use BCE, which is before common era. Okay, and BP means before present. This is not much useful. Just you remember that AD means Anno Domini and BC means before Christ. Okay, so here they are showing that Egyptian languages. Okay, these are the inscriptions which they have deciphered. Here the word decipher means they have understood what this meaning is. See, you can see here it is written Ptolemy's. T means this square, T means this semicircle, like that. For every object there is one letter, and with that they have deciphered the names. You can see Cleopatra is a Egyptian queen. One of the most famous stories of decipherment comes from Egypt. So they are saying that Rosetta is a town in the north coast of Egypt, and here this inscription was formed, which was in Greek and Egyptian. Based on the Greek letters, they have deciphered this. Okay, so here we come to the end. And here they also said that scholars who could read Greek figured out the names of kings and queens were enclosed in a little frame called cartouche. They will generally not ask, but you can remember that cartouche is something where the names of kings were enclosed in a little frame. Okay, so here there is a small matching. Narmada Valley, as I have already told you, that hunting and gathering took place. Magadha, it was the first big kingdom. Garo Hills, where early agriculture started. Indus and its tributary, where it is about 2500 years ago. That is the Indus Valley civilization. Ganga Valley, sorry, Ganga Valley, Indus and its tributaries were the first cities, and Ganga Valley was cities about 2500 years ago. I'll just show you here. Here, give me a second. As you can see, Ganga, here, about 2500 years, cities were developed on the bank of Ganga. Okay, we come back here. So here, Ganga Valley should be cities about 2500 years ago. Indus and its tributaries were the first cities in India. That was the ancient Indus Valley civilization. Okay. So he is asking list one major difference between manuscript and inscriptions. Obviously, I have told you that manuscript is written on the birch of a tree, whereas our inscription is written on a relatively harder surface or stone. Here we come to the end of this chapter. I hope that you have understood, and this is my initiative to start teaching regarding UPSC. You know, most of the people have texted me, they asked me about history, so that's what this is my initiative. If you like it, please subscribe my channel, like my video, and you can share it with your friends so that they can understand the topic, and this would help them in preparation. Okay, thank you so much, and next chapter we'll discuss this later. And meanwhile, if you have any doubts, you are most welcome to ask me. I would answer it in the comment section. Thank you. You can also provide a feedback that would help me, and it would motivate me for making more videos on this chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.